earlier that in our first segment for today, we were going to have an interview with an Egyptian tour guide who won the Wanderlust World Guide Award for the year 2016. It's a prestigious award that honors the best tour guide in the industry. And we are joined now with Mr. Samer Said. Good morning, Mr. Samer.
Good morning, Mr. Samer. Mr. Samer, to start with, can you tell us about the award, the Wanderlust World Award for tour guides, and how did you get nominated for this world prize?
Okay, so the award itself, it started 11 years ago. The co-founder of Wanderlust magazine and that tour big thing, he was a tour guide, then he died, so his wife, in honor of him, she started to look for something big to honor good tour guides. So it's in the business from 11 years, and they started at the very beginning, like when they started it, they started to talk to the very big tour companies. Please just nominate the best tour guides you have, and then we'll see how your people, or the people who traveled with them, will talk about them. And then it started to get bigger and bigger till this year, and we were 2,500 nominees. The company I work with, it's called G Adventures.
How many nominees?
2,500.
Worldwide?
Worldwide.
Okay.
And the company just emailed me, Samer, we need you to apply for this. And then I said, that's fine. So just like, you just contact the people who traveled with you, or the people you work with. And I'm working in an international company, so I have lots of colleagues worldwide too. So the pace of this award is, it's not only that you have to be a very good tour guide, but also you have to be
popular. Popular, I think.
Pretty much. So you have to be popular. Besides, you have to have something that you give back to your community, and you're good in teamwork. So I just like use your social media. So I just sent a couple of emails and a couple of notes on Facebook. And then I found it went really big, and my friends on Facebook, they started to share it. And the people I traveled with, then we got a shorter list of 50. So we became top 50. And from the top 50, they started to contact more in details with the passengers who traveled with us. So sometimes they called one of my travelers. Did you know someone called Samer? She said no, because all my people, they call me Simsim. It's easier to pronounce than Samer. So yeah, he's called Simsim. And then she started to talk, and then they started to collect stories of the travel, and then they made a shorter list of 8, and then top 3 chosen by the judges, and the judges are travel consultants, very big names in the industry, and till the 3rd, that's all I know. And then we were invited to London in order to receive the awards, the 3 of us, and there it happened.
Great.
So what is the criteria on which they choose the winners?
They said that you should affect your colleagues at work as well. So you gotta be helpful. You're not just like taking everything for yourself. Besides, you should be giving back to your community. And there is something like an NGO with our company, G Adventures, and it's called Planetara. And we just helped the community in Luxor by having a library and a saving project, and I was managing this. Besides, I trained.
So community work is a must.
Yeah, should. It's a bonus, pretty much.
Of course.
And with the colleagues, I'm also a trainer for the new tour guides worldwide for the company I work with. Sometimes I travel to train them and see whether they're qualified to work with us or not. And I made lots of good friends through this. I mean, as a team, and that's how it worked.
Mr. Samer, although it's maybe not very easy question to answer, but from your point of view, why did you deserve to win that prize? Because as you have mentioned that many tour guides from around the globe did apply for this prize, and yet you were successful enough to be the winner. So from your point of view as a tour guide, and you have been in this profession for almost 11 years, as you have said, why you were eligible to vote, to win for that prize?
I think it's something from the people, so you have to do something for the people. It's pretty much 3 things. I love my people who traveled with.
Of course, because you love what you are doing.
Exactly. The passion of what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Like, I think like most of the tour guides we have are all Egyptologists, so we just like, we know the history in a different eye, from a different
Yes.
angle. Egypt for us is completely different. We just see it really glorious all the time, because that's when you stand in front of Abu Simbel,
Yes.
that's the glory itself on pieces of rocks. So we pass it because it's infectious. Besides honesty, like you have to be honest with the people. And that's why people can still remember you after all these
Indeed.
years, and they are really happy for what you approach and stuff like this.
So, what are your tips for first-time travelers to Egypt?
That's a good question. They gotta get out of their comfort zone, because Egypt's still developing, and it's not what you're gonna see back home is the thing that you will encounter when you're here. Besides water all the time, sunblock all the time, winter and summer, and just the dressing properly
Yes.
in the sightseeings. That's it.
Mr. Samer, just before going live now, you just told us that you were coming back from Luxor, and the tourism is starting to get back on track to a certain extent. So can you tell us about that, and what measures should be taken in order to help returning the tourism back to its normal level?
It's slightly getting back, and even the passengers who were with me, they just noticed that, it's not as dead as people would say. And with lots of ease concerning flights returning back to the main destinations like Hurghada, Sharm el-Sheikh, and Luxor. Now there are lots of Germans and Japanese in Luxor taking their charter flights. In October, 7th of October, they started Egypt Air straight to Luxor, which was banned. And I heard every now and then that the following year is really getting better.
Hopefully.
And that, hopefully, we all hope.
Pray
The chairman of some foundations in tourism, he said that we expect that 2017's winter is the start of the right tourism back to Egypt. So these are all good indicators. We lacked them before. And the measures that should be taken is how to treat tourists.
I think, Mr. Samer, you have tackled a very important point, is how to treat tourists, because somehow certain people who are not very much aware of that might be annoying tourists somehow. So how can we raise the awareness of the people, and the people who are directly in contact with the tourists, and the people who are selling some stuff, bazaars, whatsoever, to know how to deal with the tourists in a proper way in order not to annoy them to a great extent?
I guess we should do the right recruitment. It's a very sensitive issue. Pretty much most of our economical problems is because of the death of tourism. So once tourism is back, we should recruit or train people. Even those sellers, they had to be put in a place
Yes,
telling
actually,
them.
many tour guides left the industry in the past few days, and this is years, and this is a big problem now.
It's going to be a
Because
problem.
if we go back to the same normal levels of tourists, we don't have enough tour guides.
It's not about tour guides only. Tour guides, like, well, it's not defending my own colleagues, but the whole story is there was no business, so they had to go, right? And when they come back, they are really eager in working again, but it's
I
still
believe
the
they
same.
are fond of this job as well.
You know, if an actor or an actress just stopped for a couple of years and they come back, once they are in front of the camera, they will do their job perfectly.
Indeed.
What we're talking about is the wrong people in a very sensitive place. Like a person who just treats a tourist as an US dollar sign. This is really silly, because all these efforts that we're doing as people and government and stuff, we're trying to get them back, and then someone just bad way of treatment will push the people away. So we need to train people really hard, otherwise we are facing a big problem, especially if the numbers are coming back in that big size, because we'll not have any recruitment, whether in hotels, restaurants, in bazaars. So all we need is just like the person who's in direct contact with the tourist to treat the tourist right.
Indeed.
Actually, Minister of Tourism Yahya Rashid is now participating in the World Travel Market Exhibition in London, and he's giving some statements about about the security of the airports here in Egypt. And he said that many British companies and media there are encouraging people to come back to Egypt. So how do you evaluate the government's efforts to promote for Egypt abroad?
Well, they are doing okay.
Yes.
They can do better.
Yes.
Honestly, we still in the stage that we need
More
pushing,
Yes.
and we cannot save any effort. Everyone in the whole organization should work 110%.
Yes. Mr. Samer, from your point of view, as you are in direct contact with the tourists, how can we do that? How can we start to think out of the box in order to attract the tourists to be eager to come? As we are very rich in our touristic destination, we are rich in the tourism, beach tourism, cultural tourism, religious tourism. So how can we attract the tourists with their different interests in these different kind of tourism?
In my little opinion, the easiest way is just to search for your resources. We have all these attractions that you just mentioned, and they're all amazing.
Indeed.
But instead of just like waiting once a year to go to a travel show, why don't you invite some bloggers? Bloggers in Europe and North America are really watched more than the governments. So if you just invited 10 bloggers and then tell them that we're gonna travel through Egypt and what we want is just to write about Egypt. And
Give your feedback.
give you feedback, because these guys are really, really trustworthy. And when you do this, they definitely can encourage other people. You know, word of mouth is amazing.
Indeed.
Everyone trusts the others more than trusting a newspaper. So if you just tell someone, just why don't we invite you and then come back, we also need to use public figures, because
Yes.
these figures are very, very important. Like, I was really happy that Michael Bolton was here. And he was just operating there. The squash championship, which was by the pyramids, I just found them just building something. And it's really interesting to tell the people, even when the people are with me, watching people working by the pyramids, what are they doing? I said, this is a squash World Cup or championship. And the people, oh my God, it's amazing how to watch this match by the pyramids. So these
Quite
kind
amazing.
of things are helpful to get our tourists back.
So do you think that we should diversify sources of tourism and not rely on a certain market?
We should. It's
Like going
that's
to
what
Asian
we suffered
markets?
from. All Sharm El-Sheikh and Hurghada suffered from Russians, Polish market, because that was 100%,
The main market.
pretty much 100%. Everyone was just like, when you go, you definitely went to Hurghada.
Yes.
You don't read English, you read Arabic and Russian, right?
Indeed.
Yes.
So we have to make a big diverse, and Egypt is Egypt. I always even tell it to my passengers. It's a place that sells its name.
Mr. Samer, so do you believe that we should start to tackle other destinations or to attract other tourists from other destinations like Latin America, like Africa, like other destinations that we are not really targeting?
Asian markets, yeah.
Asian market, we started really well with
Because
Chinese.
I do- yeah,
Chinese and
Japanese.
Indians. I've seen them many times. You were really right with the Latin American market. They started to settle economically, so they can afford the travel. And if you just open a direct plane or something, let's
Flights.
say, just like flights, direct flights, like charter ones, they will come in big numbers. First of all, they are places with history, so they love history. Second thing, they love to go out, and now they have the money. So why don't you target them?
So we do lack the targeting of the Latin American market.
We
from your
have
point of
little,
view.
like we still have some Mexicans, they come every
Very
now and then.
few, I
Few
believe.
Brazilians every now and then. But you don't have like a big market like Argentina. Argentina is a big nation, they travel a lot. I have lots of friends from Argentina in my company, and they just say, if we have like good promotions, we definitely could travel.
Indeed.
And in your opinion, to what extent declaring Luxor as the world tourism capital for the year 2016 can help in boosting tourism? How can we promote for this?
It's a very good thing, at least to see something related to Egypt
Yes.
on a newspaper. TV shows. So this is itself a very good marketing point. What we need to ensure is security. People are not scared of anything but security. So security should be on its best, especially at airports. We are doing way better than before Sharm El-Sheikh plane, but we still need extra. Like, in my opinion, we shouldn't find inside the airport itself porters. It's not existing in any any place in the world. I've traveled to quite few places, but it doesn't exist. Porters are outside, not inside. Inside to be 100%
Free.
just the travelers or the people working on the desks or the security people. So these are people who just like, why is he
Are
here?
allowed to go
Yeah,
outside.
and it's better just to make what's inside is what should be for the inside part. Outside is fine, but airports, we suffered from airports banning. Like the UK did not ban Egypt, they
Yes.
banned the airport of Sharm Sheikh. When they banned an airport, it means don't go. That's it. So we're really, really doing well. I'm so happy with the very big security jump in airports because I've been traveling all the time, especially domestic flights.
Yes.
So before I could go with my water and everything is fine. Now no, I have to take my shoes off twice. Even my
Even
training.
in domestic flights.
Even domestic, I'm so happy with this. It takes a little bit of time, but well, I'm
This
safe.
is very important to elaborate for people.
Exactly.
Yes.
And we should just like in TV shows like this, I think you guys should tell the people that it's not treating you in a wrong way in every
Because
single
it's the
airport
case in
outside.
all airports around
Yes.
the globe.
Exactly,
Mr. Sam.
every single airport outside Egypt, and even the security measures are even tougher.
Indeed.
So they choose random people and then they take them in rooms and stuff like this. So why do we take it personal? We should just follow the right thing.
What was the feedback from the tourists that you have met recently during your last trip in Luxor concerning all these issues of security, of the situation of the country? What was the feedback as you have interacted with these?
It was amazing. Like people were super happy with the experience itself, and then they started to complain on the media how manipulating the media is.
Yeah.
And they
it's a
don't.
very important point, Mr. Sami, because actually many people are really abroad, that the foreigners are scared because they are not actually aware of the security situation in the country. They are misleaded because of what they do hear from some media outlets. So how can we correct these concepts?
I learned one thing: we can never go against media, especially if we cannot compete. The only thing we can do is what's in our hand. What's in our hand is to ensure our travelers that we are good. We can send our people, like very professional people, to travel shows. And I feel this is one thing that we lack. We still have the same style of old school, which is not bad, but it doesn't work right now. The travelers themselves worldwide change it. Remember, you are in a very, very, very open sky. Everyone knows every single thing before he comes. So we need some people from their perspective. They can meet other travelers with their own perspective, and then we can meet together so we can just promote Egypt.
Yeah.
And what kind of tourists now interested to come to Egypt and Luxor?
We cannot classify them, but the braves are coming. Seriously.
Why the brave? Because I do believe that many countries around the globe did suffer
And they are
recently
threatened.
from terrorism and from instability, and they were not affected the level Egypt was affected, with less
You're so
fatalities
right.
or less. So how do we read this scene here? Because it's quite questionable here.
Pretty much I answered it just a few minutes ago. You cannot compete with the media. People are fed through media, right?
Yeah.
So if you always tell me, you know what, it's very hard to travel to Malta. It's very hard to travel to Malta.
So
it's very
you
hard to
won't
travel
go
Malta.
to Malta. You
I'm
will
not
choose
going to
another
Malta,
destination,
right?
of course.
Nowadays, people started to have the freedom to think of Egypt. Before there was no freedom to think of Egypt. Okay, so it was really sad for us, and it was also bad for them. I always say that Egypt, if it's in your bucket list, you cannot delete it. You can just postpone it until things are better, and then you go, because pretty much most of North Americans, Australians, New Zealanders, and all West Europe, and East Europe as well, they studied Egypt in the very beginning of their school years. So they are always fascinated with this. So we're settling down. We need to tell the world that we are settled. So no one can mislead the people and then say, Egypt is not safe. Because Egypt is way safer than many other places I've been to. And we're all in Egypt, and we go anytime, and we travel wherever we want.
So the tour guide is an ambassador for his country. And I want you to shed more light on some of your achievements in this field.
Well, we all learned that we are
Yes.
ambassadors for Egypt. Like before even we started to work, like
Yes.
since we were in the college, we know that we are just doing something great for Egypt. So it's not about achievements. Actually, I've been with lots and lots of tour guides from all the world. Not because I'm Egyptian, but Egyptian tour guides are really, really the best in the industry because we are very well educated.
Yes.
Indeed.
Very, very well educated. We know everything about what we're talking about. It's not just we searched it and then we're doing, now we studied this. So the achievement itself is just in your own personality now.
Yes.
So you have the material and then you shape it with your personality. As I said, you have to be very passionate, otherwise you're not trustworthy.
Convince anyone, yeah.
Yeah. Because passion is infectious. If you love the place, everyone will love it because of you, even if they just come with no expectations. Now you're raising the bar really high, so expectations are something very big. After you come with no expectation, then you find, oh, how amazing this place is. Plus, you gotta be honest as well. Honesty is something very important, and we're talking to people, like we're just with people. And this will change you from a tour guide to be an expert friend on a tour. So they don't treat you as a tour guide and yeah, we book and that's it. No, it became like more a family thing, a friends thing. We go out, even if I want just to have a rest. Nah, you're not gonna have a rest. We're going out. Oh, that's fine. Then we can sit in a coffee shop. We can have just any drink
Coffee.
together.
Yes.
So it's the bond that you create. It's what makes you really good at what you're doing.
Indeed. And finally, Mr. Samer, can you just give some advices to the tourists to come to visit Egypt and to tell them that it's a safe destination and an interesting place to visit?
It's really very safe, and Egypt is Egypt. It's not gonna change. Egypt is always amazing, as we say, mother of all the civilizations. So the advice is come now before it gets busy, and then you line up for tickets, and then you lose amazing iconic pictures because there will be tons of people in just your lens. So it's the right time right now to come. So the weather is amazing, the people are really happy, ready to receive tourists, and everything will be great.
Indeed. Mr. Samer Saeed, the tour guide and winner Wanderlust Guide Prize, thank you very much for being
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Samer. And now, dear viewers, we'll go for a short break and we'll be back with our second segment for today, and stay tuned.